we have a critical, extremely important new moon in Taurus at 18 degrees coming up on May the 7th. And this is a moon that's going to take cue from the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction of April the 21st, but more importantly, from the eclipse in October on the 28th at 5 degrees of Taurus. These energies are all interconnected, and I'm going to be sharing how both of those energies play out in your chart for your life based on your sign. Rising sign is most accurate. You can listen for your sun and moon. What I love about this moon is it's got a few extra spices to it. One, the asteroid Hephaistos, the god who used to be the armorer of Zeus, who created the weapons for Zeus, but also the artist and the artisan, and what part of our lives are going to invite that part of ourself, the creative impulse, to come to life. Also, we have a really interesting but very rarely used star by me, Ruchbah, and the key words for the star upon which this moon is having its new beginning is energizes, grows, prospers, rewards effort genuine effort with success. And finally, the last thing is the Sabian symbol is a continent rising out of the ocean. And John Sandbeck talks about it in terms of good things happening, a surge of goodness after a time of crisis. And why I love that for the world is simply that it is the eclipse, October the 28th at 5 degrees of Taurus, that happened to be a part of the invasion or the attack of Hamas on the nation of Israel and the subsequent horrific war that has followed, or horrific bombing of Gaza that has followed. And because we have this continent rising out of an ocean, a new continent, there is a chance here for something new to emerge, a new continent of awareness of, the plight of the Palestinians, perhaps, a new continent of awareness about whatever else is going on in the world besides that. And I think also the hope is here with this particular Sabian symbol, as John Sandbach talks about it, in the light of post-crisis rejuvenation and renewal. So let's get started. Let's talk about this for all signs, of course. Some of you understand that I do my, look at the world. It's called a mundane astrology. If that's something you're into, we're going to start with that for about 10 to 15 minutes. Then we're going to move into the signs. Now, one thing I would say is you probably want to listen to the beginning as I delineate more deeply Hephaistos, Ruchbah, and the Sabian symbol, just so you can carry that information forward into the understanding of your own sign, as this new moon plants a seed that will last 6 months until we have a full moon in the fall. It's going to be that long for the seed to begin to germinate. Also, if you have any ideas about wanting to win a prize from me, you heard about this big contest all May, every Sunday, I'm doing draws. I'm giving away readings, courses, and my 2024 All Signs bundles. That's like 18 hours of video content for free. Everyone can win a prize, but how to win the prize? You got to join my Cosmic Moonshine newsletter in order to get into any of these draws. So check out the description links below for how to subscribe to my weekly forecast newsletter. Of course, you can win some prizes or not win some prizes. It depends if you're lucky, but you're not going to win a prize if you don't sign up, and then you won't know how to enter the contest. Okay. Finally, a couple of etiquette stories. And yes, I'm not in my home in case I look like I'm at a beach. I'm recording on the weekend of April the 28th. And so anything I say about world events won't be accurate because I'm talking about it before it happens. Second of all, I don't have my good microphone, my Yeti Blue mic. So if it sounds a little echoey in here because I'm traveling, I do apologize. And lastly, another bit of housekeeping, if you can bear with me. I love listening to your comments. I read almost all of them if I can. I heart, like, and get back to you if you have a question. Of course, I'm not taking questions about your chart. I can't do that. But also, if you have something about a difference of opinion with me, I'm totally fine with that, especially if it seems like I'm on a political side or whatever, and you don't agree. I don't mind your disagreements on that. But where I will block commenters is when they make personal attacks, like, you're so stupid. Who would say something so stupid? You're attack, ad hominem attack. And I've got a few of those lately, and I wait and give people like a block warning, and then I'm going to go ahead and block you. So if you have a comment that's a helpful suggestion, I'm down. If you have a political disagreement with me, understand I'm doing astrology and I'm talking about world events. I'm not focused on Biden for any other reason, for example, that he's the current president of the United States of America, not Donald Trump, and not the other guy running RFKs, whatever, Robert F. Anyway, the Kennedy guy. I will be doing videos on the elections coming up this summer, probably in July, when it's closer to the election and we know who's standing and who's not. Okay, so keep that in mind. I'm not favoring Biden. I'm not disfavoring Trump or favoring Trump or maybe Biden. Yeah, okay. I did a little video about somebody winning, a woman rising to power, and I've heard already that in Spain and maybe another country, there's women coming into political contests for leadership, but I also think that may apply to the United States of America. And it may just be simply, of course, female running mates as vice presidents, but it also may end up looking like a female stepping into a position of running for president. We shall see what happens. Okay. So let's get started and let's talk about the first thing. I'm not going to show you the chart yet, but we will in a minute. One thing about a Taurus moon at 18 degrees of the sign of Taurus is it is connected to the 20-degree conjunction or 2021-degree conjunction of Jupiter and Uranus on April 2021. And that means that that's a hot spot in the sky. It's close enough, 3 degrees, that it's going to hit a patch of celestial real estate where a conjunction that only happens every 14 years, but since 1941 in Taurus, well, 84 years, right, happened. And this means that this is going to ignite or energize this part of the sky. So if you know your natal chart and you know where your Taurus part of your sky is, based on your rising sign most accurate, sun can be career and purpose, moon can be home and nest and safety, for example, then you will want to pay attention to how this new beginning, the seed of something new, is going to give you a clue to where the next 14 years of your life go in terms of luck, prosperity, abundance, wealth, generosity, kindness, goodness, and wisdom. Jupiter, expansion. And Uranus, sudden, unexpected, surprising, exhilarating. Because those energies are playing out in all of our lives over the 14 years ahead. And unless you were in your Taurus whole sign house of your natal chart, I am Lori Lothian using the whole sign house system, Western tropical astrology. I forgot to introduce myself. And so in that sense, you can use this new moon and the 6 months that follow, and then the full moon and the 6 months that follow from the full moon, and you can make some interconnected dots to say, wow, this year will have an emblematic resonance for how my life looks in the next 14 years. For example, I'm an Aquarius rising. This is happening in my 4th house of home, property, land, and real estate. Legacy wealth as well. I could find that what happens in the 6 months that follow the new moon, the seeds that are planted, and then the fruition and the fruiting of that seed in the fall, add 6 months until, into 2025, I can make a suggestion to myself to pay attention that themes to do with the new moon and the later the full moon that play out are going to tell me about how I'm going to have all this exciting, expansive, joyful, exuberant energy in my 4th house. Now, well, I'll let you know what happens. You're a different sign, if you're an Aries rising, your Taurus house is your money house, and it's all happening in your whole sign, 2nd house of earnings, money, possessions, and wealth. So I want you to listen, of course, for your rising sign, because it's you at the steering wheel of your life, right? Like a car steering wheel or a boat steering wheel, the helm of the chart. But your sun is about your dad as well as father figures, but it can be your purpose for being on the planet, your soul's reason to incarnate, because the sun is your soul, where the rising sign is the character and the role you're playing here. And then the moon can be, of course, your mother and mother figures, but also the home, the nest. It can also represent your body. So there are elements to the moon that are worth paying attention to, and therefore you can listen for all 3. All right. So let's go ahead and show you the chart. I'm going to give you a picture of the sky, and I want you to see what I'm seeing, and then we'll delineate maybe a little political and world event stories. Oh, and let me just say one more thing before I get there. The Sabian symbol of a continent rising up and the star Ruchbah. Okay, Ruchbah. I just wrote down some keywords, which is energizes, grows, prospers, and rewards for effort, genuine effort, bringing success. So if you want some kind of energy, prosperity, thrival, growth, and rewards off of this new moon, go for it. Do some new moon magic, therefore. But wait 2 to 3 days after the new moon. You want the moon to be beginning to wax into greater light. When you do magic on a dark moon, hypothetically, you're doing it in the dark moon. There's nothing there to, there's no light shining. So wait a couple of days later and maybe cast a spell, do a meditation, whatever you guys do. Okay. New moon magic is best done a little bit after the moon as it becomes a first sliver of a waxing crescent moon. All right, and then we have Asteroid Hepaistos, I mentioned, and I'll just say he is a few things. He's unrequited love stories that are too hard. He was the ugly, disabused husband of Venus, but he also made her a magic girdle. And he was an artisan, and like a forge smith, like a blacksmith, and he crafted jewelry and beautiful things. So you look at Hephaistos as this part of you that wants to craft something beautiful in the world and wants to do that using your creative energies, your artistic and creative energies. And as well, he was the armorer of Zeus who created the thunderbolts of Zeus and therefore is a god of weapons. Now, it is interesting that the war in Israel is called the Iron Swords War. And this is also because Netanyahu has the asteroid Hephaistos conjunct his midheaven. He is literally throwing war missiles, right? Missiles, 2,000-pound dumb bombs, destroying entire buildings. The armor of the gods is on Netanyahu's midheaven, and thus we see him being in charge of the Iron Swords War. Now, all missiles, including nuclear, all of them belong to Hephaistos, in my humble opinion. Okay. I also often look at Sagittarius, who throws arrows, missiles, and projectiles as also a symbol of that type of war, bombardment. So keep all of those ideas in mind for a second. Now, and I say that because Netanyahu's ascendant is in Sagittarius, right? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the sky together, and the Sabian symbol is again a continent rising from the ocean. Where in your own life have you had an experience of crisis that it could come to some very positive experience at the end of it all? And I'm going to read from mindfire.ca, John Sandbach. I do like the way he writes about the Sabian symbols. These are channeled symbols done in the 30s by Elsie Wheeler that describe a sort of Zen koan for a degree. There are 360 degrees in a zodiacal wheel because it is, of course, a circle. In case you don't know, the wheel of the zodiac or the heavens is a flat interpretation of our three-dimensional viewpoint from Earth. So what he does say about this is the following. I had it queued. Let's get back to that 19 Taurus, a new continent rising out of the ocean. Keynote, the surge of new potentiality after the crisis. The symbol need hardly be commented upon, he says. When the mind has been emptied and light has been called upon to purify the consciousness, freed from its attachment and contaminations, a new release of life can emerge out of the infinite ocean of possibility, the virgin space. What will it be used for? Because this is a fourth stage symbol, we find in it a suggestion of how to approach whatever new phase of life has been not only hoped for, but actually confirmed. The technique is simply to allow the infinite potential to operate in unconstrained spontaneity. This is a spiritual impulse behind this. This means to have reached a state in which the conscious, rational ego is no longer a controlling factor. For any of those in their enlightenment journeys, this is a powerful Sabian symbol for the consciousness of something new to rise out from the depths of the ocean below. I'm just going to leave you guys with that. I really like it. On a practical note, we have we have land masses and oceans in the Red Sea, in the Mediterranean, where this whole Gaza and Israel story is taking place. And to go very literally, what new continent can emerge? Now, I wouldn't put it past this new moon to give us 6 months from now, in the next 6 months, literally a continent lost under the ocean. But if it's not that literal, then we can definitely go, because Jupiter-Uranus is that discovery energy here. We can definitely go with a surprising, positive, exhilarating, hopeful, wise outcome about the Gaza or Hamas, Gaza-Israel problem. Because at the end of the day, the Palestinian people have been an occupied people and a displaced people since 1948. It's Nakba. And at this point, the whole world is now aware of this. And this is something new. And of course, as I record this, there's murmurs in the news that the ICJ criminal court is going to issue arrest warrants for members of the Israeli cabinet. Now, even if they do that, I understand that Israel does not abide by that, or is not a member of the ICJ, although Palestine is, and lodged a formal complaint about them over the war, the Lebanon war bombings. Maybe Lebanon had joined, but back in 2013, if I remember. But the point is that if the ICJ does arrest warrants for Netanyahu, Ben-Gvir, and Smotrich, among others, then these people cannot necessarily travel safely in countries in which they are all members of the ICJ. They can be arrested, deported, and tried. So we might see that play out in the next couple of weeks as well from the new moon in Taurus. Now, Israel has its sun, which means its leader, in the sign of Taurus. Maybe that's what someone misunderstood something I said in a video to say Netanyahu had his sun in Taurus. I meant the sun of the nation of Israel represents the leader of the nation, and Israel's sun is around 10 degrees of Taurus, or no, maybe later, 20 degrees, but in the sign of Taurus. And so this is having a new moon in the sun of the nation of Israel. Maybe it means a new leader of Israel. Okay, over the next 6 months. New moon, new seed, new beginning. When this war started, it started on the heels or in the pre-shadow a week before the October 28th, 5 degrees eclipse, which was hitting Joe Biden's moon and Prince Charles' moon. And we all saw difficult circumstances with both of them. Joe losing the popular vote of young people and Muslims in his own country. And, King Charles having the prostate cancer. So we're seeing some eclipse energy to both of those characters. But this is the eclipse that happened at 5 degrees, as well as on October 28th at 5 degrees of Taurus, as well as the Libra eclipse around 21 degrees of Taurus on October the 14th. Both of those eclipses are connected to the onset of the war between Israel and Hamas, but let's face it, the Palestinian people. And so I would say that this particular moon is going to also have a kind of hopscotch effect, where it's going to generate a new story, a new seed for that narrative. There is an astrologer in India. Don't ask me who he is. Go Google Indian young astrologer prodigy who predicted the pandemic. Okay, you'll find him. And he has declared from the onset of this war, and apparently he predicted it a couple months before the war in the Middle East broke out. He has suggested that this war may go on for 18 months. By the time we go 6 months from this eclipse, the war started last October, we will indeed be a year into this war. But there's a full moon, which can bring a completion to something, a full energy of completing something. Therefore, if there's a chance for a full resolution of the war based on the hopscotch of this new moon in Taurus, full moon in the fall and Scorpio season, then we may expect perhaps indeed a 6-month window for this entire horrible, horrifying disaster to finish up. And I will add one more thing. I am not taking sides. I mean, it's hard. I mean, I'm anti-genocide, not anti-Israel. I'm also pro-Jewish and anti-Zionist if Zionism means massacres and genocides, right? Simply that. But I also want to say, I was just watching a documentary or something online about this. Maybe it was BBC. It was BBC had a special with architects or engineers or people in war disaster recovery who have said it will take 14 years minimum to clean the debris up from the amount of damage that has been done, in which more than 60% of the houses have been damaged or destroyed, as well as all of the universities have been demolished, as well as, the mosques, etc., demolished, not even bombed, some of them just like demolition units, and hospitals, of course, as well. And when you think about that, why would it take so long? Because when you bombard a country and you said now they estimate 150,000 weapon bombardments shells have landed, missiles, maybe they're counting bullets too, 150,000 have pummeled Gaza, then it is a dangerous cleanup mission because 10% of those munitions do not detonate. So you're in landmine territory. It's not like you just go in and workers can just haul the debris out. Even that's going to take a long time, let alone rebuilding. but the debris itself is dangerous, not to mention dangerous to inhale, right? Because you'll have things like chemicals, asbestos, maybe, whatever. So it's dangerous on so many levels. And you wonder where 1.5 million people are going to go for 14 years. Well, the entirety of Gaza minus Rafah is actually destroyed. So I just want to bring your attention to this. This is not something that most people are talking about. And I'm always wondering why. If you have any ideas why we don't talk about it, if you have any thoughts about that, why people are just talking about stopping the war, but no one has realized or wants to mention that even that doesn't cause a solution to the problem of 1.5 to 2 million people without homes to live in, universities to go to, hospitals for their medical care. Does anyone have any ideas? Please share in the comments what could happen next that looks like any kind of solution other than displacing the Gazans out of their country or their territory, what's left of their territory. All right, so let's get rolling and let me show you the sky. And we're going to do your sign and I'm going to show you what the sky looks like. Here we go. And I'm not going to do much more political. I know a lot of you don't like this stuff. And it's a downer. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit that notification bell if you're new to my channel. Give me a try. I put up 30 videos a month. Everything is all signs, including all signs videos for each single sign. So basically it becomes quite the amazing little, a little place to get all the info you need about you. Remind you that this is bell curve astrology, general bell curve astrology. What do I mean by that? A bell curve, the main clump of people and then the outliers, but that's even being generous. Your chart is as unique as your fingerprint in many ways. It's so particular to you, especially when you add the devils and the detail asteroids. The time of birth, your rising sign is particular to you. People born in that 2.5 hour window to 2 hour window, if you have a same sign, rising sign in the same location, but there's a lot of uniqueness to your natal sky. And you can't just use general, everybody who's an Aries, everyone who's an Aquarius and get a result. So when people say none of this applies to me, it doesn't make sense, this is bullshit. Sorry. I get a lot of people going, wow, you read my mind. Wow, that was my month last month. Oh, you nailed it to a T. Well, then you're in this middle of a bell curve, right? You're one of the people who are getting a lot of juice out of this. So just keep that in mind. It's not you shouldn't listen to astrology or online tarot readers. More like consider it that you're drawn to listen to something when you do because it will have meaning for you, prophetic and divinatory meaning, rather than imagining every single YouTube video that I do or any astrologer does could possibly delineate your luck and bad luck perfectly. Okay? Hope that makes sense. For me to try to say that to you guys for a while. I use a whole sign house system. It's the ancient house system. When you're listening and you're looking at your Placidus and you're confused, just don't. All YouTube astrologers are acting as if we're using whole sign houses in order to make a delineation that's reasonably accurate for the general bell curve of each sign. All right, so let's take a look at the sky. I'll just cue it for Aries because we're going to go there anyway. And then you can look at, there we go. You can look at the sky here and I'll annotate a bit for you guys and I'll show you what's happening and then we'll go through your sign. If you want to join my Patreon community, they get everything you're listening to early access ad-free, and all new members and existing members get 2 free courses upon joining. Synastry, the Key to Purpose, and Chiron, Are You My Person astrology class, and Chiron, the Key to Purpose, just for giving it a try for the lowest tier, $5 a month. And there are 1, 2, or 3 meetings with me every month, and as well discounts or freebies on classes that I teach. So check out my Patreon community as well. Okay, so here's the sky. I'm going to delineate a little bit for you from my vacation place. And this is down here. So what we're paying attention to is a chunky bunch of planets in the sign of Taurus. You can see that we have Mars and the North Node. This is where the eclipses happen, April 8th. You have Chiron and you have Mercury here, and they're just hanging out back end, and I'm going to get rid of them. And you're probably wondering why, because they're not really needed. Okay, I mean, you really don't, whoa, something came on, like enable my Zoom AI companion. What the hell? Right now, I don't want to do that. Oh my God, it won't go away. It won't let me cancel. Give me a sec, guys. You cannot make this up. Cancel, not now, in the middle of a recording, I'm enabling an AI companion. Back to you. Let me get rid of the people we don't need. There's the planetary bodies that are just junk in this reading. When planets are next to the rest of the planets, like next door, the sign next door, for example, there are what we call in ancient astrology inversion. They're not really, they're they're not talking. Oh my God, incumatic, I can't speak. Oh, my malapropisms lately. They don't talk to each other. They're out of communication with each other. So we're not going to look at the planets in Aries, right? Now, you can see the sky is chock-a-block full of Taurus. It is a super busy part of real estate in the sky. Venus has moved here in her home kingdom, in her dignity. She is the guiding planet here. This makes us extremely positive. This gives this lunation a very big edge, means Venus is watching over this. Now, Venus is always close to the sun, but she can be up to 2 signs away. Therefore, this is especially powerful and positive new moon in Taurus. As the continent of hope rises up from the ocean of crisis, we may see something beautiful come off of this 6 months into the future. Next, of course, the sun and moon are together. Technically, the eclipse is at 18 degrees. The chart is ahead of time on the 8th. Let's move us back a simple day. All right. The moon will be conjunct the sun at 18 degrees on May 7th. All right. So just know that. We're not going to worry about the exact details. Depends on your time zone, maybe on May 8th, depending on where you live. And also we can see that this is a star Ruchbah, and this is asteroid Hephaistos. Ruchbah, asteroid Hephaistos, and there's Jupiter and Uranus. Now I'm not annotating. There's Jupiter and Uranus. This whole stellium is amazing, right? Jupiter, Uranus, conjoined, around 20-21 degrees of Taurus back on 21st of April. This is an 18-degree, it will be an 18-degree conjunction of the sun and moon. Simply said, as I mentioned in the beginning, you're going to get reverb off of this 14-year story. So look for the next 6 months to give you clues about how exciting, exhilarating, prosperous, and bounteous, and yay, and fruitful, and unexpectedly good things happen to you in your Taurus sky over the next 14 years. I have a long video on that, right? I have 2 of them, one's at 100 and something thousand, looking at it from 2 different angles in my big 2024 playlist on my channel. Please go listen to that. It's something that you need to know about. It's changing your life for 14 years. And you could compare to the other conjunctions that happened here over the years in those videos to make sense of your life in terms of the synodic cycle of Jupiter-Uranus, last conjunct in Taurus in May of 1941. Now, you might notice that Saturn is in a cooperative mood. He's at 17 degrees of the sign of Pisces, and he's flowing to the 18 degrees new moon. It will be that 18-degree new moon, a few hours from this chart's position. And therefore, this conjunction, this sextile also says stability, longevity, wisdom of Saturn, or sagacity to how this plays out. Saturn will stabilize and tangibly make something concrete from this particular story. And don't forget, with Neptune, it can be very much about making the nebulous, the fantastical, the dreamy, the wished fulfillment into a concrete reality from the Pisces part of your chart to the Taurus part of your chart. And as we do the all signs, I will delineate both of those, how both your Pisces and Taurus real estate in your natal whole sign sky is going to be juiced up for the 6 months that follow this new moon. Finally, we have Pluto here. This is a big deal, right? Pluto in Aquarius until 2044. He's not really in an aspectual relationship to this, but he is in a whole sign square. And while we could delineate the reason he's in a whole sign square, I'm not going to cover the whole sign square from Pluto to Taurus in our all signs video. For the world, I may argue that Pluto in a whole sign square from Aquarius on a hopeful new moon, with Aquarius being a part of the real estate that connects to the ascendant of the nation of China and the moon, early moon on the ascendant of China, that we're going to see some big stories about China that may be difficult, but could have positive and hopeful outcomes. Taurus is the real estate, land, and property that China owns. They want to go back and retake Taiwan, which they lost in the 1800s. It used to be a part of its territory. This can be conflict between China and some situation right? To do with aggression, because there is a sextile from Mars to Pluto at the time of this moon, a whole sign sextile, where I do believe in the next 6 months, we may see some problems with the China-Taiwan story emerging. But I do think with Venus and dignity here, there will be hopeful outcomes where we don't actually see a China-Taiwan war. In fact, I haven't been seeing that. I think there will be resolution and agreements made in order to avoid an all-out war in the South Asian Sea. That's my opinion, okay? And we'll see what happens. Now, I'm not looking at China's chart today. There's a deeper dive I could do. I'm just giving it a heads up for everybody. China is an ascendant in Aquarius, and it has its moon with this Pluto, and this Pluto is also conjunct the asteroid America as we speak. I didn't draw it in. So America, China, Pluto, war, resolution, peace, Venus, Taurus, over land that China wants in some way, all right? Because it's China's land that belongs to the Taurus fourth house of the nation of China. It's funny because China's 10th house is Scorpio, and its open enemies, people that it has to argue or fight with, is Leo. And so it may come into November through June when we see Mars in and out of Taurus, November of this year to June of next year. That's where we're going to see China wanting to go to battle with open enemies. And that would probably be the United States, actually, because they perceive the US as trying to thwart its ambition in the Taiwan, South Asian Sea story, as well as we see that in the Taurus part of the sky in November of 2021, 2023, on November 17th, there was a Mars conjunction we haven't seen since 1991 with the sun in the top of the sky, and that death and rebirth of Mars in the political structures and the leadership of China may also portend that. So this happened in China between 1991 and 93, fall of 91 to fall of 93. I don't know the Chinese history. If you do, put it in the comments. Maybe there was a shift of leadership, because China will go back into that energy around a shift, a death and rebirth around the leader and leadership stories between November of 2023 and November of 2026, as that 2-year synodic cycle kicks off. All right, let's go ahead and do your sign. I'm going to stop the share in order to just clear the annotations. If you like this kind of content, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications and do the whole thing. You know, it's a small act with your finger, but the YouTube algorithm loves it. And if you like me doing this kind of content, because I'm pulling away from doing one-on-one readings as the time goes on, it's not where my happy spot is anymore. I love teaching classes. I like doing content for you, but I've done like 6,000 readings in 5 years. I honestly have kind of come to the point where the one-on-one work, which is great field work, because you only know how astrology works when you do it in the field. You don't want to go to a brain surgeon who hasn't practiced operating on a lot of people in medical school or in like internship, right? So that's important that astrologers on YouTube, I ideally have seen a lot of clients, and they're just learning astrology and then giving you forecasts, right? That's dumb to me, because they don't really know in real life what works and doesn't. But anyway, if you want me to produce a lot of content, more classes, and you like me doing this kind of thing, then by hitting the like button and subscribing, it gives me a viable direction for another source of income. Thank you so much. Okay, let's get started. We're going to start with Aries. And I'm one of you. I'm a sun, moon, and rising. And I love these earrings. A Native American Indian guy, First Nations, we call them in Canada, was walking out near False Creek in Vancouver, where I live, and I love them. I love what he did with this. Anyway, I don't have his Instagram handy, but I love to share jewelry from authentic love of jewelry. Venus and Taurus in my fourth house. Okay, back into the story. We're going through. Now, this is not a long reading. This is going to take us about no longer, I'd say, than 45 minutes at the most. So settle in, get a cup of coffee or a tea, and let's roll. So Aries, sun, moon, and rising sign. This is going to be a new beginning. Now, I want you to remember, you're kind of feeling the energy of that Jupiter-Uranus April 21st reset button, synodic cycle. And this is going to indicate a time over the next 14 years in which you're going to find a lot of excitement juiced up in your second house of earnings. It's really good for your financial success and some rags to riches energy as well with Uranus there. And now you might find that what's going to happen is that this new beginning, new moon, within 3 degrees of that conjunction, reverbs in the 6 months to prove it to you that you have what it takes to increase your financial resourcefulness in a very auspicious, blessed, fortunate, and lucky way, especially with Venus governing this as she watches over in her home kingdom, this beautiful moon. Venus is also the ruler of your seventh house. And in some ways, she may allow for some greater financial success in ways because it's connected to your house of marriage, business partnerships, and how you reach out to the audience marketplace for your 10th house of career. Look to that as an auspicious option as well in the next 6 months. Now, as well, Saturn is here, flowing. And don't forget, we have that new moon on Ruchbah, energizes energy, prosperity, and rewards for genuine efforts, success for genuine efforts in your financial endeavors. And Saturn is flowing to this. So let me make one more statement. The second house is things you eat, right? It's your face, your teeth, your jaw. So maybe you want to beautify yourself, renew yourself. I'm thinking I'm getting an LED laser as an Aries sun and moon, because moon can be my body, right? And putting that face mask on for a year and comparing, because I don't do plastic surgery or anything. But literally, you may want to see this as an option for the next 6 months to beautify teeth, nose, face, right, head, or to change your food style and do it with exhilaration and ease and excitement as you no longer smoke, drink, vape, drink too much wine, whatever. And what I love about Saturn is that Saturn, the god of control and moderation and stamina and endurance and walls and boundaries, is literally pitching in. It's really good for moderating or getting out of a overdoing of something that you put into that mouth, whether it's food or substance abuse. Second of all, Saturn here can stabilize your earnings and money you make from foreign shore revenue and borderless income. In our world, it looks like PayPal, Stripe, and digital reality, digital life, really. But it can also look like you work for an international company, or you go off and you have an international revenue source of some kind. And that can really increase for you 12th house matters over the course of the next 6 months from this new moon, but in an incremental, steady as she goes, tortoise not the hare way, gentle increases in your earnings in that regard. Let's keep going and see what else we have for the next sign. Sorry guys, I need to move into the hours, not the days. That's my mistake. We're going by days. All right, hours. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising sign. So here we have it. We have a beautiful Venus guided and governed new beginning, new moon in Taurus at 18 degrees, reminding you it energizes and gives you an energy of great reverb off of the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction of April 21st, indicating in the next 6 months some way in which your life is about to transform in prosperous, lucky, bounteous, generous, magnanimous, and expansive ways. Because you are that thing. You are Jupiter. You are the one with the bounty, the expansion, the prosperity, the growth. You're literally Jupiter, king of the mountain, queen of the mountaintop. So you have this quality about you over the next 14 years. And all of you Tauruses especially should be so excited to know that you carry the archetypal energy of the God of wisdom and goodness and the dispeller of darkness, as well as plenty and prosperity. Now, I would say a lot of Tauruses could look at this as a next 14 years, you'll be watching your weight, or you're getting pregnant, or you're doing a lot of bodybuilding, because it expands your body as well. Because this is also Venus, ruler of your 6th house, which is work and health matters, as well as pets and rentals and tenancies, you may find extraordinary lucky breaks and blessings around those matters over the next 6 months. Now, Saturn, stodgy old governor Saturn, the taskmaster, is looking at this favorably in a flowing, applying sextile from the 11th house. And this is Taurus, this is Pisces, which Venus exalts. So she's got a special affinity for where he sits. And I would say it's something like you may be able to moderate and restrain your wishes, dreams, and goals for your life to make them more realistic in order for you to thrive and succeed. But at the same time, Saturn here can be about a constriction or a limitation around your friendship groups and circles. And you may be able to wean away, or they wean away from you, but it's in so doing, those are the people for you. Those groups of belonging, friendship circles, and people that you were relying on for your social networks are not all good for you. Saturn can get rid of, in a very discerning way, the associations that are not right for you. Now, there is also the chance with Saturn to represent the house of the elder sibling, especially one above you, that you can get some great support that's very much like a shoulder to lean on, or a rock, hard rock to back you up, you know, like a wall, like a, what do you call it? That an elder sibling has your back over the next 6 months in a very profound and positive way. Or that a friend who's much older than you or more serious than you also can have your back in a supportive and positive way over the next 16 months. Your salary and your career gains belong to the 11th, second from the 10th, and therefore Saturn can mean that you are going to be very stable over the next 6 months in getting into a situation with the word work and salary, or work and recompense, that is very stable and reliable and consistent for you. All right. So, I mean, because you got Venus owning your house of work and job, some of you are going to find a very stable, consistent, and lovely job that you may want to stick in with for the long haul, Saturn, in the next 6 months. If you're already in a position of work, you might stabilize your earnings. You might get a new kind of pay grade, and they're going to lock it in for a while or something like that. Hey, Gemini, sun, moon, and rising sign. So in the sky here, we see that you are looking back over your shoulder at this 12th house, which you really can't see directly. You know what I mean? It's not, it's kind of like behind your peripheral vision. And so it's a subtle energy. It happens to be very much connected to past lives, the Akashic records, your deep unconscious, your soul work, your spiritual liberation, sometimes your dreams at night, and things that come to you when you're in a state of shamanic trance or reverie or meditative states. So you can use this energy. I mean, this is where the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction jump-started you. So a lot of you Geminis, especially the rising signs, sun and moon secondarily, can be indicating a 14-year period of great excitement and exhilaration around spiritual awakening, spiritual liberation. Now, it's also far off foreign shores, and you can move to another country with this energy or spend a lot of time abroad over the next 14 years, but this is also in the next 6 months, because the new moon is exciting the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction of April the 21st, which is a 14-year story. And Venus is watching over this in her dominion, and she's giving it great blessings, which is why it's so super lucky. I haven't titled this video yet, but I mean, I use the word lucky when Venus is involved and she's in good condition. So I might use that word again. Maybe super fortunate. I think if you make money online, like I do, Gemini Sun progressed, right? You can listen for progressed Sun and ascendant, but you do that secondarily to your main, natal chart. You could have a great bounteous increase in revenue generated from far off foreign shores, foreign entities, foreign lands, and borderless income. Also, good things happen here in terms of bed pleasures over the next 6 months, private time alone, and things to do with what you wish to do in a kind of secret backroom way where no one's watching you. So you're very generative here and perhaps very creative. We have a Hephaistos, the creative artisan. It may indicate not only like a kind of 14 years of hyper sort of, I'm writing my book in the back room, I'm creating my paintings in my back studio, but also before you show it to the world behind the stage, right? But also it could look like, this energy in the next 6 months, that you got some kind of real excitement going around a creative project, and you're spending a lot of your quiet time doing that project. Saturn agrees with this whole story from your 10th house. Now, he's been here since last March, and he's been stabilizing your career and giving it more expert authority, mastery. You're becoming more masterful and authoritative in the work you do. But also some of you might be getting ready to retire or leave something behind. Saturn's here is kind of like the apex mountain climbing moment, and some of you may be getting ready to go back down the mountain and leave it behind. In that case, if that's true, this can also be a time in which wherever you're leaving behind also supports greater quiet time, spiritual liberation and all of that, or creative downtime. I'm leaving behind client readings, like I said in the beginning, and that's Saturn saying, yeah, it's time to limit and constrain. Bosses can love you up though and give you more time alone, or you may get a job from a established corporation in a form of foreign country, or it has foreign shore offices. Maybe for some of you Geminis, that could look like this as well, giving the love Saturn is giving to the story from the 10th house. Cancer, sun, moon, and rising sign. The story tells us of a new beginning, a new moon. It's potent. It's got Venus blessing it in her home kingdom, but it also energizes on the 7th of May at 6 months, energizes the April 21st conjunction of Jupiter and Uranus. Therefore, this is the house that Jupiter is happiest in. He's in the house of his joy in the ancient world. So a joyful Jupiter, who's jovial anyway, right? Jove, Jupiter, is blessing you as well with extreme luck and success in the house of your earnings from your salary, from your career, and reputation gains too, like awards, red carpet moment, Oscar in your hand, all the perks of your 10th house of career and work becoming really amplified over the next 14 years, but also the next 6 months. Think about this as well, perhaps, because what I think this could look like is allies and benefactors super blessing you in the next 6 months. An elder sibling or a friend who treats you like you're the younger, and you get this kind of, people in power and high places, men or women, I don't care, wanting to come out of the woodwork and give you superior support, luck, blessings, and help. Now, Saturn is in, and wishes can come true here. Saturn is in your 9th house, and this is a blessing from him. He's in the house of foreign shores, foreigners, book publishing, third marriages, legal and court matters, and your meaning of your life and spiritual principles. Now, all of those things are going to be highlighted as a result of the support that Saturn is giving to the 11th house. Certainly, it could look like a financial windfall from a court matter, your dream publishing contract, opportunities coming from foreign places, foreign people, a new spiritual path that enlivens your sense of joyful, exuberant financial gain from your career in the next 6 months. Mentors, guides, and coaches can be 9th house people. And one of those mentor, guides, and coaches, very Saturnian, very wise and elderly, could be supporting you, sage-like, as you expand your revenue in the next 6 months. Or you get your dream opening, your wish come true, and you get into your favorite university or college or school. Venus is the ruler of your 4th house, and some of this reverb from the 11th house of windfalls and pennies from heaven and support from allies and benefactors can bless you in the house of real estate and property. And with the South Node moving through that part of your chart, I bet you some of you are thinking, by the way, of leaving your home in the next, leaving or selling your home before the end of 2025. Let me know if that's true in the comments, if you don't mind. But this could give you the money or the financial blessings or the help from others to do that. Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign. This is a new moon. It is a new beginning. It is seeding itself on May the 7th. It will energize the April 21st Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. So it's energizing a 14-year story of blessings in career, reputation, part of your sky. This is your success part of your sky, your ambitions and what you want to achieve in the visible world. And that's super blessed for prosperity and unexpected goodness over the next 14 years. But now we have a new moon here and it's cooperating with it. Lord Venus is governing it. She's at home. It's very lucky. Look for some real career opportunities in the next 6 months. Look for some real financial and career blessings in the next 6 months. The bosses love you. You get a raise. You get your dream job. You get promotions. Things look good. And also, if you have sincere effort in your work and career, the star Ruchbah will bless you with the results that you want for success. Because Venus is also the ruler of your 3rd house, some of this may be a successful career expansion in the local neighborhood, or in the online world, or maybe some travel opportunities connected to your career. Saturn is cooperating from the 8th house of chunky money. When it comes to career matters, that might look like a sign-on bonus, royalty money, ability to buy stock in the company, a severance package that's a dream package for you, ability to retire out and get some kind of significant blessings from leaving a job. Often Saturn in the 8th house, where he's been since March and through to February 26, causes people to retire out of some kind of financial gain that they've been using. In other words, a career path. I hope that makes sense. Just consider it 6 months of new beginnings with a lot of luck in career and reputation and actions you take in the world that everyone witnesses you doing. Hey, Virgo, my daughter's one of you, rising, sun and moon, rising, sun and moon. This is going to be a new beginning. A seed is being planted in your ninth house of higher education and academia. My daughter just finishing up her school, just got really great grades on her last exams. I'm so happy for her. And so there's like a kind of sense of bounteous Jupiterian plenty and luck. In a house, it's a Lakshmi house, which is wealth and prosperity and luck. So it's already a luck house in Indian cosmology. And now we've got a lucky Jupiter here blessing this part of your sky. And this Jupiter-Uranus conjunction says 14 years of ninth house blessings, book publishing, higher education, NGOs, humanitarian organizations, spiritual philosophy, course, legal matters, all of the ninth house stuff is super fortunate for you in the next 2 years. If you want to go into a career path that is humanitarian, that is like non-governmental organizations, that nonprofits, things like that, churchy churches, religious stuff, book publishing, or even things to do with foreigners and far off shores, these are very blessed for you in the next 14 years, Virgo. You might want to move to another country. But on the same token here, this is also a 6-month story where good things happen in ninth house, things that I just mentioned. And this includes third marriages. If you're in your third marriage, you may be very fortunate with even maybe churchy weddings and wedding bells here in this part of the sky. In the next what? Well, 14 years, but also the next 6 months. Proposals, engagements, wedding plans for some of you. Also, Venus is the ruler of your second house, and the second house is a house of your earnings and your paycheck and the money and the kind of like the sense of all the resources you need to have food, shelter, and water. And those could be very blessed as well. Or you maybe get some financial blessings that allow you, say, to get a scholarship for a higher education or apply for a school of your choice and get in, but have the money to do so. Now, also Saturn is saying, yeah, I agree, from your 7th house of marriage. That definitely looks like the hardship you've been feeling in a significant long-term relationship, or the contraction of you or your partner in that relationship since last March, might lighten up in the next 6 months, because Venus is saying to Saturn, love that sticks, love that lasts, and the new moon says new beginnings. So freshness and newness in existing long-term love relationships is trying to happen for many of you Virgo, sun, moon, and rising folks as a result of this. Now, don't forget, Saturn will kibosh a relationship. He will clearly let it go if it's cracked in the foundation. That influence continues on here. We can't change that, but we see a glimmer of goodness in long-term love relationships that may surprise you. And you may even be something as simple as you and your partner are going to move to another country, or your partner proposes, or you and your partner find a spiritual faith together, but it helps consolidate in a positive, lasting way with love that endures. If you're in a relationship already, if you meet somebody under this influence, then similarly, it can bake in a love that lasts energy and a spiritual alignment with your partner. Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. This is you having a new beginning in the house I always call chunky money. I coined that term here on YouTube. It's because, first of all, you don't earn it, right? It's not your paycheck, not your earnings, not your salary. It's an inheritance. It's a tax rebate. It's an investment in the stock market that takes off. It's a bank loan or a mortgage because you're sharing the money with another, but you've got the money, but it belongs to the bank too. It's unearned income and it's money shared. Because it's second from the 7th, it's other people's money is the name of the 7th. So but it's chunky because it usually is coming to you in a, here's some money I can use. Now, this money house has a blessing, but it also has Jupiter here, which can indicate inheritances. Some of you Libras are coming into an inheritance. Now, with Saturn in the 6th house, that can be from a grandparent. And so you may be looking at the next 6 months, the beginnings of clarity. A seed is planted that you will inherit parental monies coming through your sky. You also might note that you can see here the positive energy of Venus midwifing this chunky money. She's a money goddess in a money house in her dignity. You can't go wrong. Financial goodness. Now, Venus in this part of the sky, this is also the esteem of others, how others look up to you, how the other people favor you, and your esteem in the eyes of others will increase as well over the course of the next 6 months. Venus is the ruler of your house of your health, your body, and your identity. Those things can improve in the next 6 months as well. And that's about that. If you're into like tantric sex, I find that the eighth house does include that kind of thing, more of a kind of sex magic, occult sexuality, red tantric energy. And if you're into the moving your sexuality and your sexual energy into a deeper place, a more spiritual place, that can be favored for you as well. And if you meet somebody under this influence, love will last, right? Venus flowing to Saturn, love will last if you meet somebody new under this influence. And it may be very spiritually and sexually deep. All right, let's go to this next story. You are looking at the sky, a Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sun. You are looking at this sky as others in your life. This seventh house isn't you, it's those other people, my clients, my business partner, and my main squeeze. What are they doing? I wouldn't even call it about you. You could say categorically, my business partnerships and my marriage thrives in the next 14 years because of the April 21st Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. And now this new moon is taking it further and giving me evidence of that in the next 6 months. This is really good also for your significant other in your life. They are blessed by this exciting, beautiful new moon, and it can bring a pregnancy. If your partner is a female or an egg bearer, that partner may become pregnant in the next 6 months. Venus is a goddess of pregnancy and fertility. Ovum and sperm are her domain. And you could look at this as exciting, unexpected, exhilarating pregnancy in the next 6 months. Your partner will be lucky, and you will be happy that your partner is lucky, and your partnership will thrive and grow in the next 6 months, period. This is getting also, well, and Venus is the ruler of your 12th house, and bed pleasures will increase. If you're trying to get pregnant, of course, your bed pleasures should increase. Also, possibly trips abroad with your partner in the next 6 months, getaways abroad for foreign travel. If you're single and you meet somebody under this and you're looking for love, okay. This is a super blessing in the house of significant relationship, and that should favor a good start for you, especially because Saturn is flowing from the 5th house of romantic love and sexual energy, enduring love and friendship and sexual energy for new relationships that begin to form under the influence of this moon, May 7th, add 6 months. Saturn is in the 5th house of your muse, your creativity, your art, your flowing entrepreneurial endeavors, your children, and things to do with those parts of your sky are aligning with 7th house matters. Again, it can clearly look like pregnancy after a time of hardship or hard work to get pregnant, or constraint or concern or fear, but yet pregnancy happens. Or it could look like with Saturn here, maybe a tendency for some hardship with a child, smoothing out or something like that as well. Saturn is definitely also in a house of good fortune, and it can be financially fortunate as well here. So very good financial fortune may emerge from this in a kind of lucky winning the prize way that benefits you and your business or marriage partner. Finally, if you're somebody who puts stuff into the creative stuff into the marketplace, the audience, here's my latest video, here's my latest song, here's my latest book. Wow, then you could have a super viral hit of some kind, or a super big legal contract for your project, your book, whatever, that just frigging is amazing emerging in the next 6 months. All right, Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. I got to get this done in time. Checking out, I need to finish before the cleaning crew comes in. All right, here we go. Sagittarius, it's like you've got a new moon in your 6th house. This is about work and health, new beginnings. But hey, work and health, pets and rental situations and debts, they're all favored and blessed for sudden unexpected bounty in the next 14 years. Thank you, Jupiter-Uranus, April conjunction. But this is taking it further in the next 6 months and showing you proof of concept. So Sagittarius could see great opportunities and lucky breaks in new jobs, a new pet, better health outcomes, breakthroughs, better rental situations for either as a landlord or a tenant. Those are all very lucky, and an ability to suddenly blast out all your credit card debt or get rid of debt or have money owed to you come back to you in the next 6 months. Now, the other part of this is that Lord Saturn agrees. He's like, I'm team Venus. We want to make this lasting, enduring, stable, and wonderful from the 4th house of land, home, property, and real estate. And because the sixth house is about debts, it can be about selling a home, clearing a debt, clearing off a mortgage, paying down a mortgage, but also about rental property. And a lot of you Sagittarius may be looking at renting out a property, getting a dream tenant and lucky breaks in 6 months, or vice versa, finding a dream rental in your reality in the next 6 months. Venus rules your 11th house, and friends and allies will benefit you. And some of your greater goals and wishes come true may occur for you, as well as some greater financial gain from a career if you have one in the next 6 months. All right, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising. So remember the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction of April 21st is being re-excited here by this new moon on the 7th of May. Add 6 months for the full moon to appear. So this is a germination of something to do with the following themes: sexuality and romantic love, creativity, entrepreneurship, and independent business enterprise, children, blessings for your children for your children, therefore grandchildren for you. These are big themes in the next 6 months. If you're an artist, also greater artistic creations, and you're off to the races with great success. If you're single, it's a romance of a lifetime. A big love wants to emerge in your life over the next 6 months. It's certainly a good time to start dating. Saturn in the 3rd house of dating apps and also the local neighborhood says either go out in the local hood and meet people or get on a dating app. You could have enduring, lasting, solid love thanks to Venus, Saturn, if this new moon has its way with you. But with Jupiter, it's exciting, exhilarating, bigger than life, and sudden. And if you're with somebody already, it enhances the beauty, the love, the fun, the play, the pleasure, and the joy in that pre-existing relationship. Maybe also some opportunities for long distance travel or short distance travel with you and your significant other in the next 6 months. If you want to win the lottery, you are the one that can win. This is the gaming, winning, gambling house, and Jupiter and Venus, 2 luck gods, are here under the spell of a new moon. It's also part of this Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, especially the next 6 months. Buy some lottery tickets, know your limit, play within it. But of all people, Capricorns, you can do this. Venus is the ruler of your career and reputation house, and she may bring you some opportunities from the 5th house that can look like lucky breaks in career, but more importantly, if you're an entrepreneur, especially some new opportunities for new partnerships, agreements, or contracts in your entrepreneurial endeavors. I'm you. I'm one of you, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Here we have this story going on of a constellation of energy, but it is a new moon in the house of home, land, property, and real estate. What the heck does it mean? Beats me, but it could be we are going to suddenly buy or sell a property. Just keep it in mind. Or we're going to have such incredible luck, joy, and bounty, and pleasure and satisfaction from something we are doing in and from the home. The artisan guy, Hephaistos, is here. What are you crafting of great beauty and creativity in and from your home over the next 6 months? The moon is also connected to the star that the efforts you put into something bring you great reward and success and energize you as well. Certainly, if you want to start a new relationship because you're single and you meet somebody really close to home, like on your doorstep, this is good news. You may also have a lot of just joy and fun in and from your home in the next 6 months. Because you have support from Lord Saturn in the 2nd house of earnings, it looks like whatever is going on in the home, whether you have enough stability financially to purchase a home, you sell a home and get a great amount that stabilizes your finances, you have conserved your savings in such a way that you're very resourceful around home, property, and real estate, because Venus here could be guiding this new moon to redecorate your home, repaint your home, refurbish or stage your home or something like that. All said and done, there's something exciting happening in the house of home and property and real estate. Some of you may receive an unexpected chunk of money from a family member up the line with this particular lineup as well, or from a spouse or from a former spouse to do with where the sun is sitting and money coming through that person towards you. Now, because Venus is the ruler as well of the sign of Libra, things that have to do with book publishing, foreign lands, court and legal matters, spirituality, faith, and academic environments and third marriages are all super blessed. Those also kind of reverb gently up to the 9th house, where she's saying, well, I'm covering a new moon in your 4th house, but let's give you some collateral, gentle benefits in the 9th house. Let's not forget, we have Pluto in our sign for the next 20 years, right? And we don't suffer fools gladly. And we tend to be like, we want to be Pluto. It's not to be afraid of. He's not going to kill you. You have to go with this flow, guys. Aquarians, listen, especially rising. Like if it's your sun, Pluto will transform your career. If it's your moon, then Pluto will transform your home and body. But if it's literally your rising sign, everything can change. Pluto says like, come on, let's be real. Let's go deep. Let's transform. Let's rebirth it all. So because we have that archetype playing out here, I will add this for us, only for us. Over the next 6 months, anything we do in home property and real estate is filtered through the Plutonian imperative. Is it authentically, deeply, truthfully evolutionary? Am I channeling divine will? And is this potency and power being properly handled? Keep that in mind. And first and always first, best and always best, mystic poets of the zodiac, it is the Pisces sun, moon rising. Now, I should add more water. This story says to me that you guys are going to be having a very exciting 14 years ahead when it comes to your younger siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, nieces, nephews, short distance travel, and neighbors and neighborhood. There's a lot of energy here of excitement, exhilaration, joy, and expansion. Thank you to Jupiter. But if you're in the online world with a website, social media platforms, those things are expanding as well over the next 14 years. This new moon is giving you proof of concept as it demonstrates to you in the next 6 months that this is true. And you begin to reverb outward into a sense of expansion in that third house. It's really good for writing and writing projects as well, and communicating, marketing, and selling for all of you Pisces. This rules secondary schools and elementary schools, and Jupiter is teacher. And if you're a teacher or want to have a teaching job, or you just want to instruct others in something, you can be an instructor, but you're also blessed in learning by being instructed over the next 6 months. Venus is the ruler of your 8th house of chunky money. You may receive some chunks of money that allow you to really release some of your stress a bit, but don't forget the North Node is telling you to increase your value, your self-worth, as Aries North Node energies say it's time to hustle, to buck up, and increase your financial resources through your own efforts. Finally, you also have Saturn in the house of you since last March until February of 2026. This means that you are sober-minded, realistic, serious, dutiful, and responsible. In the worst case, anxious, fearful, and burdened. It can be hard on your health, so be careful. But it is about you coming into a place of authority and mastery in your life. It's not meant to hurt you. Saturn is giving you, the Grim Reaper is giving you an ability to time manage, an ability to be realistic and enduring and perseverant and disciplined about what you want to achieve in life. And that's true till February of 2026. And as this energy is here, Saturn flows to this Venus new moon, Taurus new moon, and says, you know how to handle it. You'll pace yourself. You'll be realistic about what things you could accomplish in your writing project, that website, that social media plan, that teaching opportunity, that travel opportunity, that skills-based learning opportunity, that relationship to a younger sibling, neighborhood stories, those things. You've got a really good grasp of it. You're Yoda. You're Obi-Wan Kenobi. You got it. And so therefore you kind of have an upper edge here, an upper hand. And come on, you can really make some enduring gains here regarding third house storylines. This is your exciting zone in the next 14 years, so you better get used to it. See what happens in the next 6 months. Let me know how that plays out, what kind of exciting developments happen in your third house. It's a lot of joy, enjoyment, fun, and play and pleasure in the local neighborhood and in your daily interactions with others in your daily life over the next 6 months for most of you Pisces. If you're looking for love, you can meet someone in a bar or on a dating app. So if you're single, go for it. This supports that energy as well as creativity, writing projects, social media, and website development. All of that super juicy for you on the 6 months ahead. Woo! Time stamping sister, I hope you could keep up. That's it. We're done. That was your sun, moon, and rising for this amazing, important, hyper important new moon in Taurus. All right. Thanks, guys, for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Thank you to all my regulars. I haven't had time to shout you guys out, but you know who you are. Misbehaving, L.A. Taylor, Stephen the Jupiterian. I had a dream about you the other day. Stephen the Jupiterian, Michael Thrash, Herbal Empress, Grounded Extracts, Purple Table Tarot, Bold and Beautiful Tarot, Our Soul Songs, and more. Thanks for being a part of my crew. I'm going to pack it up, get out of here, and I'm headed back to Canada after an amazing time in Mexico in the town of Puerto Vallarta. Ciao, everybody. Take care.